Hi, this is John Harcher. Welcome to episode 12 of Left Turn at Albuquerque. The Summer of Bugs comes to a close today as we take a look at the essential Bugs Bunny 2 DVD set. The first disc isn't all that interesting, but the second one has a few gems that deserve a look at.
I knew I should have made a left turn at Albuquerque. I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. I should have turned left at Albuquerque.
About a decade and a half ago, among the many things Warner's tried with the Looney Tunes collections, was put out 2-disc sets for Bugs and Daffy called The Essential. Bugs's came out on October 12, 2010, a couple of months after the Superstars disc, and Daffy's came out a year later. We'll deal with that one soon. I picked them up from Amazon a few years after they came out. Bugs's was under $8, while Daffy's was like $16.50 after a long time over $20. Why the disparity? And why weren't there any more of these for, say, like Porky Pig or Tweety and Sylvester? Now, for Bugs' set, Disc 1 has 12 tunes, all of which had previously been released on the Golden collections, with one notable exception, and later all of them got an HD upgrade on the Platinum sets. Also, all of these ended up on the Bugs Bunny 80th set, which makes sense since that was ostensibly an upgrade for this collection. Since we talk about all these, I'll just mention them, put up the title card, and explain briefly why they're here. Elmer's Candid Camera from Golden Collection Volume 1 and later Platinum Collection Volume 2, directed by Chuck Jones, moving out of his Disney phase. As we've talked about, this is the bunny cartoon just before Wild Hare. It's not quite Bugs, but it's close. He's got the coloring like the Harem Scarum rabbit and the attitude of the later bunny, but not the voice. Elmer is also morphing away from Egghead and towards the character we know. Wild Hare was from the Academy Award collection and later Platinum Collection Volume 2, directed by Fred Tex Avery. This was a given, especially at the time this was released. It hadn't appeared on a Looney Tunes collection, only the previously mentioned Academy Awards collection. The Old Grey Hare from Golden Collection Volume 5 and later Platinum Collection Volume 1, directed by Bob Clampett. A tune by Clampett had to be included. I guess this one's as good as any of the other ones. If not this, I probably would have gone with Buckaroo Bugs or Falling Hare. Baseball Bugs from Golden Collection Volume 1 and later Platinum Collection Volume 1, directed by Fritz Freeling. This one is just undeniably popular with the powers that be, since it was on both the Golden and Platinum Collection Volume 1s. It was in constant rotation on Cartoon Network and is still on Boomerang. Hair Raising Hare from Golden Collection Volume 1 and later Platinum Collection Volume 3, directed by Chuck Jones. I guess the first appearance of the monster that would become Gossamer is the main selling point, as well as a good one showing how Bugs can overcome anything. Haredevil Hare from Golden Collection Volume 1 and later Platinum Collection Volume 1, directed by Chuck Jones. This was the first Marvin, though not with his later voice. Might have gone with the second Marvin tune, The Hasty Hare, since it has Mel doing Marvin's voice as we come to know it, but firsts are firsts. 8-Ball Bunny from Golden Collection Volume 4 and later Platinum Collection Volume 1, directed by Chuck Jones. Undeniably a great tune, though I wonder if Slick Hair might have been a little better for Bugs and Bogey together, but this is a great cartoon. Rabbit of Seville from Golden Collection Volume 1 and later Platinum Collection Volume 1, directed by Chuck Jones. The precursor to What's Opera Doc, it's almost as good on its own. Rabbit Fire from Golden Collection Volume 1 and later Platinum Collection Volume 2, directed by, guess who? Chuck Jones. You had to have one of the trilogy on here, so this is a perfect choice. Showbiz Bugs from Golden Collection Volume 2 and later Platinum Collection Volume 2, directed by Fritz Freeling. Hey, break up the Chucks. The quintessential Bugs and Daffy rivalry cartoon, not done by Chuck Jones. Nighty Night Bugs from Golden Collection Volume 4 and later Platinum Collection Volume 3, directed by Fritz Freeling. The only Bugs Bunny to win an Oscar was a must. That this is the only Bugs Yosemite Sam cartoon on here is a shame. At least one more should have been included. And the final cartoon is What's Opera Doc from Golden Collection Volume 2 and later Platinum Collection Volume 1, directed by Chuck Jones. Considering it's often listed as the greatest 7-minute cartoon ever, you knew it was going to be on here. Now, Disc 2 contains an eclectic collection of later specials and shorts. First is Bugs' segment with Doris Day and Jack Carson from the movie My Dreain Is Yours. How they got 2 adults to put on bunny outfits and sing goofy lyrics to a Franz Liszt rhapsody, you know which one,
Wash wherever dirt appears and don't forget behind your ears.
Get your shirt and get your pants, you haven't got another chance.
Get your coat and get your hat and get your blue and white cravat.
Now, there was a previous time Bugs appeared in a movie, Two Guys from Texas, where Jack Carson, again, appears in animated form along with co-star Dennis Morgan. These two clips were both on Golden Collection Volume 1. They're both about the same length, so I would have included both. Now, the time Bugs appeared in the Puppetoon short with Jasper, yeah, I could see leaving that off.
Well, what do you know? Bugs Bunny.
Carnival of the Animals aired on CBS on November 22nd, 1976. It's also on Golden Collection Volume 5. This was a brand new special, meaning no old cartoon footage, that was done by Chuck Jones. It has Bugs and Daffy joining in with an orchestra for a performance of the title suite with lyrics done by Ogden Nash, in rhyme, of course. I must have missed this one. I don't remember it at all. Now, the combination of cartoons and classical music is legion, but it tends to work best in small segments and not so overt like this. Do we need to see that much footage of the conductor doing his thing? The movement called the Aquarium is probably the best known portion of this particular piece of music. How Bugs Bunny Won the West aired on November 15th, 1978. It's a compilation special from CBS hosted by Denver Pyle. Wonder if it helped get him the Uncle Jesse job later that year. It contains portions of several Western tunes like Barbarico's Bunny, Trip Along Daffy, and Wild and Woolly Hare. It's not necessarily essential, but it's nice to have as a remembrance of the days when this is how we had to see cartoons in prime time back in the 70s. Now, this special is exclusive to this set. Bugs Bunny's Busting Out All Over aired on May 21st, 1980. It was also from Golden Collection Volume 5. It's another CBS primetime special, this time consisting of 3 new shorts from Chuck Jones. Portrait of the Artist as Young Bunny, with young Bugs and young Elmer shooting it out. Spaced Out Bunny, with the return of Marvin the Martian and Hugo the Abominable Snowman. And Supersonic, a fairly long Roadrunner Wile E. Coyote short. The Bugs Bunny shorts showed up on Saturday morning all the time. They were on Cartoon Network a lot, and all 3 of these are still in the Boomerang rotation. Bugs Bunny's Wild World of Sports aired on February 15, 1989. It's a later compilation special where little bits and pieces from earlier cartoons are put together. The weird thing is it was on CBS when the Saturday morning show had moved over to ABC by that point. Come to think of it, the 50th anniversary special we talked about when we did the Bugs Bunny set was also on CBS. And it turns out there was actually another Bugs 50th anniversary special out there from 1990, which also had a boatload of Hollywood guest stars dropping by to help out in the festivities. It's also where the 50 years of Bugs Bunny in 3.5 Minutes originally came from. The one on the 80th anniversary set was actually from 1986. Weird. So back to this special. This was the last time Mel Blanc did the Looney Tunes characters, so I guess it deserves a place for that. But man, it looks rough. That's standard definition. Eesh. And say, why didn't we get the Bugs 50th special on here? Well. Next is Invasion of the Bunny Snatchers, which premiered on TV on August 26, 1992 as part of Bugs Bunny's Creature Features. Bugs meets up with Elmer, Sam, and Daffy while noticing some very odd-looking carrots in their vicinity. The next day, all 3 are replaced by terribly drawn doppelgangers, so Bugs sets out to find out what's behind it. It's presented here in its uncut form instead of the edited one from the Space Jam DVD. For some reason, all the parts with Yosemite Sam were cut out for that. The short was written by Greg Ford and Terry Lennon. They also did the sports special, the Bugs Bunny 50th anniversary one, and Blooper Bunny, as we talked about on the 80th set. The next extra is Carrotblanca, which we've talked about often. Really should have been on the 80th, but definitely deserves a place on the Essential. The final cartoon is Hare and Loathing in Las Vegas, directed by Peterson and Bill Kopp, and written by Kopp, Chris Hendrick, and Dan Povenmire. Bugs ends up in Yosemite Sam's casino and causes the usual chaos. Joe Alasky does Bugs, and Jeff Bennett does Yosemite Sam. This one was totally new to me at the time. In the era around the time of Looney Tunes back in action, like 2002, 2003, Warner started creating a whole new series of tunes to go put in front of their movies. But when that film tanked, they canceled the idea and just a few of these made their way out. This one was originally released on the Australian DVD to that film before coming out on this. This set also includes the all-new, at the time, Ain't He a Stinker featurette, which is essentially a new version of the Behind the Tunes documentary. You got both of those on the 80th set. As for this, I also would have added the 1979 Christmas special, but that's on Golden Collection Volume 5. Okay, back to our imaginary alternate reality. So if this had come out on Blu-ray, as Warner's had originally intended, let's add 8 more for the What If Blu-ray to make it an even 20. And sorry, Jerry, for the Blu-ray, I'm going to have to drop Elmer's Candid Camera. I know, I'm sorry. The cartoons I would be adding would be Little Red Riding Rabbit, The Unruly Hare, got to throw in a Tashlin, Hair Trigger, What's Up, Doc, which to me explicitly replaces Elmer's Candid Camera. I wish it had been on the DVD. It needed a McKimson. So I'll actually toss on 2 more with Big Top Bunny and Rabbit's Kin. Then I'd also add Bugs and Thugs. We actually need to add a date for this one. So this came out on March 13th, 1954. As well as Devil May Hare. Let's add the date for this too, June 19th, 1954. The final one I'd add will be Transylvania 65000. Now here's my spreadsheet of my VHS recording of the 2001 June Bugs Marathon that aired on Cartoon Network. As you can see, there are a dozen that I have listed as missing. But that does not mean they haven't been released on home video. Back when the Bugs 80th set was released, Bill Hunt and the gang over at Digital Bits included a list of Bugs Bunny shorts at the time that were still not available on Blu-ray. So thanks to them for putting the list together. Now let's do a run through. I'll put title cards up so you don't have to look at me. I'm going to pull out the ones that we got on the Collector's Choice volume, so that takes care of 8 of them. Some of these we've already discussed when we did the Bugs 80th anniversary set. So what's still missing? The Heckling Hare from 1941, considering this is the short that got Tex Avery fired, probably should be on Blu-ray. All This in Rabbit Stew from 1941, considering it's one of the censored 11, its omission is understandable. I think the only place for it would be on a censored 11 centric disc, but don't hold your breath on that one. So we got a whole bunch from 1942 missing. The Wabbit Who Came to Supper. You have Bugs and Fat Elmer having to deal with each other to get Uncle Louie's money. This can wait. The Wacky Wabbit. A cool Clampett cartoon, but it's not 100% essential. Now, Fresh Hare. This is the one with the minstrel show at the end, so I guess this is why they're waiting. It's on a DVD for, I think, Captain of the Clouds, but they cut the ending there, so that's how I saw it on Channel 5. The Harebrained Hypnotist, the non-essential Bugs and Elmer, but it's actually currently on Boomerang with the AAP intro intact. It's like, can't even get a real copy for this? The final 1942 is missing is oddly enough, Case of the Missing Hare, Chuck Jones Experimental, Period 1. Maybe not essential, but should be out. The only one missing from 1943 is Wackiki Wabbit, another Chuck that should be out somewhere on Blue. This and a few of the previous others, including Rabbit Stew, are in the public domain, so you can see them on YouTube and any number of cheapy discs. It just would be nice to have them properly done. So on to 1944, we have Bugs Bunny Nips the Nips. First of 2 World War II related tunes. Just look at the title. It needed to be on a dedicated collection so you could put it in context. Hare Force, a bit of an oddity with a dog named Sylvester the year before. A cat with the same name showed up, but of course he didn't have the same name yet. We can wait on this one. Last 1944 is Stage Door Cartoon. This was pillaged for a couple of the compilation tunes, but it can wait. We have a bunch from 1945. Hare Meets Hare, the other World War II cartoon, so it would have to go on that set, but it is actually out on Golden Collection Volume 6. Hair Trigger, which we talked about, that the first Yosemite Sam is not on the Essential, not on the 80th. I mean, a bad oversight. I mean, that it's not anywhere on Blue is even worse. I don't even remember being on HBO Max. It wasn't on my list, so it's like, come on, you guys got to get this out. Okay, last one, 1945, is Hair Conditioned, a later Chuck at Strap one. Yeah, we can wait. There's only 2 missing from 46, which we both talked about. Hair Remover, The Other Tashlin, which is out on DVD. It should be done on Blue. And Rhapsody Rabbit. How is this not out on Blue yet? Now, as we discussed, 1947 is all covered. So we move on to 1948 with A Feather in His Hair. This is one of the ones they left out of the June Bugs marathon due to sensitivities. It's a goofy Indian that owes more to Yiddish theater than Comanche, so I don't know.
Me try catch him rabbit. Me no catch him rabbit.
Rabbit Punch. Again, how is this one not out on Blu-ray yet? Aladdin's Lamp, as we talked about in the 80th set. This is of interest because it's the only Looney Tunes appearance by Jim Backus and before the first Mr. Magoo tune the next year. The last one from 48 is My Bunny Lies Over the Sea. This one's in the Boomerang rotation, so it's not like you can't see it constantly, but it is a tune that deserves the upgrade. Now, just a note, I will be adding this tunes
I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque.
into the titles very soon. Yeah, quite a bunch missing from 1949. First is Hairdo, kind of follow-up to Stage Door cartoon, same types of gags, not essential. Mississippi Hare, again, one of the ones that didn't appear in the June Bugs marathon since you had people picking cotton right at the beginning, so... However, it was on the WB back in the 90s, like all the time on their show. Rebel Rabbit and Interesting McKimson, not essential. Bowery Bugs, as we talked about, the only Art Davis directed Bug, so it should be on Blue. Greyhounded Hare, Bugs battles dogs at the races, not essential. The Windblown Hare, Bugs buys the 3 little pigs' houses and the wolf keeps blowing them down. Now, if you were doing a McKimson-centric disc, this would definitely go on that as probably as well as the previous one. Now, Frigid Hare, the intro of the penguin in this cartoon is a plus. The stereotypical Eskimo, probably a bit of a minus. Bugs and Drag should make it a plus these days, but it's still not out. Last one is Witch is Witch. Bugs battles a little native witch doctor by dressing up with plates in his lips. Yeah, let's not go there right now. Though this one was on Nickelodeon all the time in the 90s. Okay, so it's on to 1950 with Hurdy-Gurdy Hare, Bugs versus a Gorilla, can wait. Mutiny on the Bunnies on the Superstars disc, can wait. Homeless Hare, this probably should have been on the 80th like we talked about, but they opted for No Parking Hare. Big House Bunny, Bugs and Sam in Jail, can wait. Bunker Hill Bunny, this Bugs and Sam probably should have made the set. This is like the best of those, as I've mentioned in the Boomerang Update specials. Bushy Hare, Bugs versus an Aborigine. It's on the Superstars set, so we can wait. Another one on the Superstars, Here We Go, Bugs and Christopher Columbus. French Rarebit, Bugs and Paris, can wait. Ballot Box Bunny, which was a bonus on the last episode. Maybe they should really put together a whole Bugs and Sam-centric set so a lot of these can just get taken care of already. Final one for 1951, Big Top Bunny. We talked about it in the Bugs set. This absolutely should be out on Blue. Bugs and Bruno under the Big Top. 1952 has a whole bunch missing. Foxy by Proxy. Bugs is the Fox and the Fox Hunt. Good can wait. I mean, it's on the Superstars disc, so it's there. As we talked about in the 80th set, 14 Karat Rabbit. It's the kind of Bugs and Sam tune to fit right in with Rabbit Every Monday and Fair Haired Hare. I'd probably have gotten it on in some way. Another one we talked about, Water, Water Every Hare, Chuck Jones Extravaganza. That really needs to be on Blue. Looks so good. Oily Hare, one of those random McKimson ones. This one can wait. But a not-so-random McKimson one, the last for 1952, Rabbit's Kin. This one needs to be on Blue. Pete Puma is such an iconic character in his one appearance. We got 3 from 1953, Forward March Hare, Bugs in the Army. It's pretty good, but we can wait. Southern Fried Rabbit, Bugs versus Sam the Confederate with Bugs as a slave and blackface. Yeah, I can see why they're waiting. I mean, Channel 5 always used to cut it, but these wouldn't be cut, so I guess we'll wait for that. The last 1953 is Hair Trimmed. Bugs is pretending to be Granny to trick Sam. Now, as I mentioned, this was on the Boomerang July 4th episode, named after when I first saw it. It was actually the last tune in that show. It's on the Superstars disc. It's in the Boomerang rotation. I guess it can wait for now. 1954 is totally covered between the Platinums and Bugs' 80th, so that's good. 1955 has a bunch. Sahara Hare, one of the Bugs and Sam tunes they used as bumpers on the Saturday morning CBS show, so it deserves interest for that. Hyde and Hare, one of Frizz's takes on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Wait. Nightmare Hare from Chuck Jones. This one really should be on Blu-ray. It's a very cinematic tune. Needs to be in high definition sooner than later, but we'll see. And last one from 55 is Roman Legion Hare. I actually thought this one was before Sahara Hare, but this is another of interest because it was another CBS Saturday morning bumper. Now we got a bunch missing from 56. Bugs' Bonnets. It's an odd one with hats. I mean, you can wait until later. We talked about this one a bunch, and we'll talk about it some more. A Star is Bored, the middle of Frizz's Showbiz trilogy. Should be on Blu-ray. Woody Wabbit, the first of Bugs' trips through TV studios. A couple gags are repeated in People Are Bunny, so I guess why it's not on like the Essential or Superstars disc or 80th set or anything like that, but it probably should be out. To Hare is Human, the final one from missing from 56, which we talked about, the second Bugs Wile E. Coyote cartoon, really should be on Blue. We only have one missing from 1957, Rabbit Romeo, Bugs' wooing of Millicent the Slovenian rabbit. It can wait. Now, 1958 was covered thanks to Prehistorical Hare's inclusion on Collector's Choice Volume 3, so it's on to 59. There's two missing there. Baton Bunny, the last of Chuck's classical music tunes with Bugs. Probably should have been on Platinum Collection Volume 2 with Long-Haired Hare. And Apes of Wrath, which we talked about a bunch last episode. It does need the official widescreen upgrade, but for now the Stars of Space Jam disc will have to do. Two missing from 1960, both with Sam. One we've seen, one we're probably not going to see in a while. Horsehair. For some reason, this gets people upset since Sam is playing an Indian. I just see Sam with a feather in his hat, but whatever. And the Lighter Than Hair. Sam is an alien going after Bugs. The HD version is out there, just needs a blue release. Now, there's only one missing from 1961. The Abominable Snow Rabbit, which we talked about during the 80th set. This one is certainly one of the more inventive ones of the latter cartoons. It probably should be out on Blue. 1962 is all taken care of. Then for 63, two of them are missing. Devil's Feud Cake, which is the last of the compilation tunes. It wasn't on the 80th set. I guess they needed to draw a line somewhere. And the other one is Transylvania 65000, the last really good theatrical Bug that should be out on Blu-ray. And the final one missing is from 1964, The Iceman Ducketh. Basically, take care of everything else before you get to this one. This can definitely wait. Now, believe it or not, there are actually two cartoons with Bugs Bunny cameos that also aren't out on Blu-ray either. Crazy Cruise and the Goofy Gophers, which isn't out on digital home video at all. How is this possible? So if you wanted to get as much Bugs Bunny as you could with the least amount of volumes, what could you do? You start with the Bugs 80th set, the 6-disc Platinum Collection DVD set, the Collector's Choice volumes, and Hair Extraordinaire. Now, to have all the stuff on the Golden Collections, you have to buy 6 of those. Well, not exactly. There is a set called the Golden Carrot Collection. Now, all it is the first disc of the first 5 volumes of the Golden Collections, which were all dedicated to Bugs, except for Volume 5, which is half Daffy. So you could knock out a big chunk of Bugs tunes there. A lot have been duplicated on the Platinums, but it still has a lot to go, as we've discussed. Now, you do miss any Bug shorts that appeared on the other discs, like Frigid Hare, Rhapsody Rabbit, Bunker Hill Bunny. Frankly, these should have replaced all the Daffies on disc 5, but they were just straight reissues of the exact disc. And you'll also have to pick up Volume 6 on its own, since they don't stick to Bugs on disc 1 format for that set. That way you'll get Hair Trigger and Hair Meets Hair, among others. As I mentioned, there's also the edited Fresh Hair on the Captains of the Cloud DVD. But to get a bunch of Bugs for not a lot of money, going this route builds up your collection pretty quickly. So this takes care of our first year of Left Turn at Albuquerque. I originally planned to do this as a plain old podcast, but then I thought, if I'm going to talk about how each cartoon looks and whether people should drop hard-earned cash on it, you should probably see it. That's where this approach came from. Some of these episodes came from old video recaps I wrote for my buddies, the Avengers Emailer of Doom from the old AOL days. There'll be a lot more of those coming up in the next year as we go over the DVDs in kind of a reverse fashion. Like I mentioned last time, I was planning to do the Superstars disc all at the same time, then go on to the Goldens. Then I came up with the Summer of Bugs idea and what's coming up next as well, so there'll be a little bit more scattershot. Now, I've held off quite a while and boring you with numbers, so let me do a year-end summary. A few days off since this is done on August 27th. We're up to 230 subscribers. Thank you all. In the past year, we've had almost 75,000 views, and I have a feeling after this one, we'll top it by the time we get to September 1st. The most popular video we've done so far is still episode 3.5. What made the algorithm plop it in front of so many people? You got me. Then we have our run from episode 4 through 7, which have all topped 7,000 views each. One of them actually topped 8 already. You could toss in the Collector's Choice Volume 3 announcement in there between the full video and my little addendum. That's over 7,000 views as well. Promo for Collector's Choice Volume 3 is just under 5,000. One exception in that run, for some reason, the 6.5 didn't catch on, even though it had all the Tex Averys. Oh well, can't win them all. Once again, thanks for everything this past year. As we head into the fall, we're going to do a couple episodes on one character before he flies south for the winter. Next time, it'll be a super September with a couple of episodes focused on our favorite fowl, Daffy Duck. I'm John Hartra. Thanks for watching this past year.